B-side here with StantonDJ.com. We're going to show you this new performance mixer from Stanton. It's the M207. It's got all the effects and bells and whistles that any DJ would fall in love with. Some of those effects include phaser, flangers, strobe, echo. It even has a sampler and the ability for you to go in and customize and record the sweeps or the parameters of those effects. You also find on this mixer something that is very unique to this particular mixer, and that's called the Effects Glide. It's a touch-sensitive section of the mixer that allows you to, on the fly, jump around different parameters or different time frames, X and Y parameters, of the mixer. In addition to all of your effects on this mixer, we've also got some of the core functionality locked down solid for all DJs. Battle DJs, club DJs, even beginners. Some of those features will include an EQ that has a complete kill, crossfaders, and line faders that have complete curve adjust on both crossfader and line fader, including reverse, in addition to the ability to do what we call soft start, which allows you to turn and turn off your mixer without damaging your speakers. So let me take it from the top down. Once you've got your turntable or your CD player or your DVS system plugged into the RCA connections on the back of the mixer, you have the ability to switch between phono and line. You adjust the gain of that input. Then you have high, mid, and low EQ and a pan left and right. Now that's on your channel 1 and channel 2. From there, you're going to either feed the effects bus and or have the ability to use that line level fader to bring it to the crossfader or the master level signal. One of the things you're going to find on a performance mixer that you don't find on your normal mixer are going to be the crossfader curves and the line fader curves and the ability to reverse the crossfader as well as the line fader. Now all of those settings you're going to find on the very front of the mixer, so you can kind of set and forget to your liking. We have the ability to do a crossfader curve and a crossfader reverse, in addition to a line fader curve and a line fader reverse. Also on the front we have two switches that are for fader start. Now for those who are not familiar, most CD players that you'll find in the pro realm, especially for mobile DJs, include fader start. That's the ability for a DJ to actually play or pause a CD player by using just the crossfader alone. You also have the ability to reverse and adjust the fade on the crossfader as well as the line fader, which is also known as the hamster switch, where you reverse from channel 1 to 2, 2 to 1. You also have the ability to do that same setting and switch on the line fader as well. Aside from channels 1 and 2 on the mixer that feed the crossfader, we also have a separate input channel which is known as the mic or auxiliary input. This will allow you to connect your microphone or an auxiliary, let's say a session in, an iPod, or any other type of audio device into the RCA connections on the back. You select mic or aux on the top of the mixer, you adjust that gain input, and then you have a 3-band EQ, which is also a complete kill EQ, which is very rare to find on a mixer like this. Plus, you can also send the microphone or the auxiliary signal to the effects bus as well. Now for the outputs on this mixer, you have the ability to adjust the master volume output and then your cue volume output, or known as the headphone volume. You also have the ability to do what we call a pre, post, or master cueing capability. Now the pre is your typical pre-line fader, pre-crossfader cue. That means you're going to hear what's going on in channel 1 no matter what's going on the crossfader. You can listen to it post, which means you're going to listen to it after the crossfader, which allows you to scratch and listen to your scratches in your headphone, and then also the master signal will allow you to hear the natural output that everyone else is going to be listening to in the club. You also have the ability to pan between channels 1 and 2 for the headphone, which is the cue pan, and you can even turn on the effects in your headphone just to listen to them prior to sending it to the master signal. So now that you've got the structure and flow of the mixer, I'm going to show you some of the basics of the effects. I've already got a song going here on channel 1. I make sure my gain levels and my EQ are exactly where they need to be. I engage the effects bus by turning on the effects send on channel 1 here. And just to make sure I get it right before you hear it, I'm going to turn on the effects cue. That means I'm going to hear the effects before you do. I can choose from my list of effects here at the top of the mixer. That list includes auto filter, manual filter, phaser or flanger, echo or strobe, key, sampler, and pan or transform. Those are the basic effects buttons. Now within that, there's a lot of other room to play with, but we're going to just stick to the basics for right now. We'll just start with echo, for example. I'm going to listen to the echo in my headphone. You won't hear anything yet, but I'm going to make sure I get it just right by selecting the 5 different buttons in the effects glide to the exact time that I want on the effect. And you'll see the LCD screen will change based upon the button you're selecting. Find the exact button I want, which is my 1-to-1 ratio of an effect. And then I engage the effects for everyone else by effects engage. Now my effect echo is on 1-to-1 based on the BPM. And you can hear that effect when I bring the line fader down or use the crossfader. I have a longer delay at the top and a shorter delay at the bottom. So now we're going to dig in a little bit deeper and show you the heart of the effects. And at the heart of the effects is going to be the BPM. This mixer has an auto or a manual BPM, and you can easily toggle between the two by just tapping the BPM button. And you'll find this is very important because if you're mixing from one song to the next, or if there's certain breaks in the song, the auto BPM may change or reset itself. And that's typical because it's taking an auto beat from the signal that's coming through the channel. But if you want to go in and do your own BPM tap, which is recommended, you can easily go ahead and just tap your BPM by tapping the BPM buttons a few times. If you wanted to go back to auto, you just press and hold the BPM button. It'll flash and it'll go to A, whatever the auto BPM is. Now, a good reason for doing this is because some songs have quiet break or a long break, and the auto BPM is going to either reset itself or research for a new BPM. So if you've got songs like that, it may be best for you to go into manual BPM mode by just manually tapping in the BPM and it's set. If you're also a more advanced DJ and you want to do some offbeat effects, it's definitely required for you to go in and do a manual BPM, because then you can easily cut that in half or double that up on beat or off beat by doing it manually. Now I can actually engage the effect that I want and know that it's on time. And you can adjust those parameters by using the same 5 buttons on the effects glide. And you're going to see that change, but it will always go back to your BPM. And that's the BPM heart of using the effects.